Hello, this is Mike. I am going to create and share with you a video of what I call playing in the grid. And this is an example of me sort of going into the grid and creating and trying and testing and using things to not only see how it all works, but also to see if I can break it. Because if I can break it, then I can find something to fix and make it better for you. Plus, I often come up with ideas while I'm demonstrating it to myself that I hadn't thought of to make it better. So I'm going to log in. I don't mind if you have my password because this is a demo application. That's my password. And so here's the grid. Now let me show you some things that are new. First, we just created this. Under Help, we have About, Help, and Update. So Help will take you to a website that has help for the grid video and answers to a bunch of different questions. So I'll bring back up the grid again. And then we have a section called Updates, which has information about updates and changes to the grid, plus a link to the forum where you can talk with other people and ask questions. And bring up the grid again. And that's that. That's the help. Now under Settings, you can enable all help texts, because you can shut off the help pop-ups, you know, the little learning boxes. You can turn them off one at a time or turn them all back on, change your password. The category reminder is to let you know when you update the grid if there is a new category you should consider. And you can turn off the reminder if you just want to stick with the category you have. And then here are different category versions. Those are templates and things we're working on here. I'm going to load an existing template, and it's asking me if I want to save, and I'm going to just say no because there's nothing to save. And now I'm going to load, and I'm looking here. See, under Storage, there's reports, templates, chart notes. I'm going to look into templates, and I'm going to look at Major Depression Severe for version 9. Alright, so this is in a standard SOAP note format. I'm going to put it to high. High is extremely high. And I'm going to go through and we're going to play with some things. So I'm going to reduce the column height for multi-select options. You can see it makes things a little tighter. I'm going to show protected health information. And I'm going to print this. Just to take a look. And it has the person's name in there. And there is this chart note. Okay, I'm going to close this. At this point I could print it. If you want to print it, you can do print. If you want to export it to a Word document, an RTF, or PDF, you can do that there. You can also email it in this one of these formats, and it gives you the option to encrypt. So let's close that. Now, all the different instructions appear to be working. So all the labels for buttons are working. Yep. Categories, instructions for categories are working. Okay, so these categories will explain to you what's happening. Extended sessions. Yep, all that seems to be working fine. So now let's do some interesting things. This is a template, right? And so I'm just going to play around with it. I'm not going to actually show you how to chart using a template. I'm just going to do some things. So I'm going to add some copies of the last note after the last one. So this is going to be, I'm going to make make five, so we'll have a total of 6. This will instruction there. More now, you could stop displaying this by clicking on this, but I'm going to leave it there. Now it's asking, is a 90791 CPD code is already used in the last note. Do you want to get it copied in all existing new chart notes? And it's like, well, no, because you can only use those once. Okay, so you can scroll. Now, this is kind of interesting. If you want to reduce the width, you can do that. It doesn't work over here. It only works on this one. So that's a thing maybe we might want to change. But in theory, you can get quite a few little chart notes. Now, let's say you want to look at what's in a category. If you hover over something, you can see everything that's in it, right? So the other option you have is to make it bigger, increase the row height. Let's see if that works. 7. You can go all the way down to 25. Let's just go to 10. When that happens, just use the scroll wheel. So then you can see everything in those boxes, right? Well, almost everything. Let's see if we've got everything in here. Nope, you don't have everything in here because, right, you can't see that. So let's see what happens if you can do that. So you can override this minimum setting and you can't grab there, you can only grab here. So you can pull down anything and probably push up anything. Yep, look at that. So I'm going to put this back to 4. And it looks like it just resets everything perfectly. Great. So that's what's in there. So you can quickly review. Now, let me show you something here. This is kind of interesting, I think. Symptom and problem list. You can actually look and see what's in there for every one. So let's go over here. Let's make this one bigger so we can look at all of them. All right. So let's just open this up. And by the way, look, this says depression or bipolar depression. So that all caps tells me what category is selected. So if I go and click on low self-esteem, which I don't have to do, and you go and you click on all those, and then you go down here and you remove some of these, right, and then click here to close it. So it closed itself up. Let's go here. That's a big symptoms and problems. So there's the symptoms and problem list. But now you can see self-esteem is here, right, and depression, whereas it's not here. So since this is charting by exception, I'm going to left click, which highlights everything, then right click, and then copy to the end of the row. And it's telling me it's going to overwrite all of these. Yes. So now I have copied this one all the way across here. You can also, let's change, well, let's change this. Let's go down to, let's change this back to like 5. I can see now there's something else I want to do. I want to, whenever I change the rows, I want to keep the category that was closed still visible. So you can still see what's in there, easy enough, right? So let's say I want to go in here, and I'm going to have to look under low self-esteem. I'm going to get rid of those, right? Click yes, right? And then let's say I want to copy one to the right, which would be copied to the end of the row. Rather, I could go in here and reselect these, right? Or I could just do this. Left click, right click, copy once to the right. So now I've copied this one over. Let's look at these dates. I'm going to click, left click in here, click this. This was October 4. That's October 11. Enter. Now it's asking me if I want to change the dates below for signatures using this date. I'm going to say yes. This was the 11th, so now I'm going to click here. Click on the 18th. Click here. I'm going to move that one down. Click over here. So we're going to go, can't go further than the 21st, right? Nice, it's got you, so you can't actually date. Oops. That's the 11th. No, it's not. It's the 18th. We'll just go to the 21st there. To today. Yep. And now, let's say we're going to get rid of this. We check it and go delete selected notes. Okay, so now we've got all the dates. Now, this one we don't. Let's try it again. I had an extra one in there. I didn't delete all of them. And now I deleted all of them. I just deleted one, and there was actually 2. You could have probably saw that when I did it. I'm more interested in just playing with it than I am. So let's make this a little smaller, just for fun. Let's do this. Now left click, right click, copy to the end of the row. Yep. Now I can shut those off, those little pop-ups. Let's say I've got these in the wrong order. Okay. I put them on the wrong dates. So this one is equal to the 18th and this one's the 11th, right? So I'm going to highlight that, copy selected notes, and then it gives me the instructions here on what's going to happen. Okay, now they turned blue. Now I'm going to insert this chart note after this one and insert copied notes. So they're copied, but they did not copy the date, and they left this one here. So I'm going to put in the date here for the 11th, right? Because that's what it is, and hit enter. And then I'm going to delete this one, right? And actually I got the dates wrong here. I'm going to have to This is actually the 11th, right? And this one is actually the 18th. Hit enter. Okay. We can also copy more, select more one and copy more sets of notes after this one. So you could copy this one and insert it, you know, many after that one. But let's just make some more copies. Okay. The dates aren't set. Let's run a full report, a quality report on this. So here's the failed validations and concerns. Multiple chart notes have the same time. General violations, failure to provide final signature. You can use only once. Cannot use the same CPT code more than once during that same note. Let's see here. Do we have a note in here? Where is the CPT code? Okay, so now I'm going to do, because I always do 90837s usually. Okay, and I'm going to just do this for fun. Copy to the end of the row. It'll overwrite, yes. There should be an extended session reason for a 90837 CPT code. And now it's 2, 3, see, so it made all those. Now I'm going to run, I haven't got the extended reason in there. The extended reason is down here. Let's see where the extended reason is. It's actually called extended session reason. There it is. So those should be right there. Let's see. Part of me wants to move this and just put it right under here, so it's easier to find. I may do that for you. But you can't do an extended session. You don't need one for a 90791. Let's look at this one. These are the different reasons why. There. Here's a good reason. And that's what's called an extended session. It's like an exigent reason, which is different than a medical necessity. So just to mention right now, health plans want you to justify the use of 90837s. And the way they do that is they say an extended session is needs to be medically necessary if it's a standard appointment. So they then want to know, why are you giving them an extended session? Is it because they want it, you like it, or it's how you work, or do you have a real reason to charge for that extended session that's medically necessary as part of a treatment plan? But what happens in most sessions is you run over for something that happened unique to the session, which had nothing to do with the medical necessity of treatment. The medical necessity, if that's the best term, is that it would have been negligent or irresponsible to abruptly end the appointment on a patient for these reasons. So that's a lot of a good reason to give a person additional time, especially if you meant them, because if you kind of kick them out the door in an emotional wreck, why would they want to come back, if that's how they're going to be treated? So you can go in and pick a reason for all these. And let's say you have reasons, right? And you click here. You click here. and do that. Now, they might say, well, what about that? And you go, well, why those? And you say, well, they just happened, which they do. Like in that last 5-10 minutes, especially if you're doing things like EMDR, working with dissociative disorders or PTSD, those kinds of things, those are your extended session reasons. And which now just made me realize that if you're going to build 90837s into all of your appointments, then you need an extended session reason for all of those appointments. And that's a hard argument to make. It can be done, but let's say you want to create one of your own, right? Yeah, let's look at this. Okay, I'm going to do left click, right click, clear. Okay, so I'm going to clear all the contents. Left click, right click, enable editing. Right? Using additional time to debrief. Oh gosh. EMDR. Gosh. There we go. EMDR session. Right? And then close it. Left click, right click, copy to the right. Okay? That's kind of cool. I hadn't done that before. It's the first time I'd ever edited a cell and then copied to the right. I knew in theory it was supposed to work, and may have tested it before, but I never just sort of poked around and made that happen. You can also add something, to anything too. So let's go down here and find a frequency of sessions. Let's click here. Okay, that's what's in there. Left click, right click, enable editing. Right? So I'm going to put here and say, let's just say I put in longer if family members present, period. Okay, click there. To clear it, or to actually save it, left click, right click. I'm going to copy it once to the right. There it is. Now if you say you want to get rid of the edits, you left click, right click, remove edited item from enabled select. Alright, so that's gone. And left click, right click, clear, remove, save. You can also do save rather than doing edit. So if you want to enable editing, you say, right, sister present. I don't know, that doesn't really belong in there. But let's just, I typed in something. Frequency of session is I don't know if that does actually make sense. Let's just stick with reality here. As needed. So I need an appointment in there. Oh, I know what I can do. Left click, right click, enable editing. Enter for next line, comma, 1.5 times per week. And you can do a left click, right click, and save. That's another way to do it. But it's also easier just to click on this again, or to hit enter. So what else can we do here? Let's go down here. Here's our cognitive interventions. Now these are things I do every session. I mean, I pretty much determined there are certain things that I do in every session, and that is my standard treatment. The individualized treatment isn't always you do different interventions every session, that you may do something different, like, occasionally with positive psychology, I'll add something in that I've done with someone. So I'll give them some homework on that appointment. And let's find and here's cognitive interventions. I'll look at these. Now, what I often do, it's the second or third session, what I end up doing is a lot of this in every appointment. I may add something else. So we'll go good, and I'll left click, right click, copy to the end of the row, and then I could go in and like copy all those, left click, right click. No, I'm just going to open it up and add that, right? And that. And I think this is the one you can tell is open because it's in yellow. Click there, right? Now, I'm going to make 2 more copies. And I got to go back and do some dates here. So let's open this up. I can't do any more because it's the end of the month. But I could just go through and fill all these out. So let's look at the times. Right? How do we do time? How's that working these days? Let's go pull all the way up to the top. This is interesting. Okay, let's look at this. And these are all at the same time. Now this is going to be fun. Watch this. 6. Enter. 4. Enter. Oops. No, that won't work. 54. Enter. Right? 43. Now that's kind of low. Do we have a CPT code here for this? Let's just, I'm just looking around to see if I can break this thing. Let's click on this here and run a selected report. Oh look, data service missing, failed to provide signature, CPT 49037 must be 53 minutes. So it's telling me it's potential, and the quality is bad. The quality is bad because it's not complete, and that's probably right here, 19 out of 30. So it's not clinically thorough. You want your clinical, your total quality should be moderate to high. High includes some clinical thoroughness and significant medical necessity. So let's go fix that. 90837. That one would be a 90834, right? Let's look at the selected again. Okay, so it picked up and fixed that. The date of service is still missing, right? So it tells you that. That's all working pretty good. You've got mail. Well, let's go over here and look at medical necessity. Let's just look at all the categories that have to do with medical necessity. Okay, spin the wheel. Okay. The brown are all medical necessity. Are there any not done? That's not necessarily required. Focus of the session. So you don't have to have all of your medical necessity criteria filled out. Now let's say we worked on anxiety issues. Close. So that looks good. Here's the problem and symptom list. And, you know, of course, you'd kind of come along and look under depression. Oops. Left click, right click, because these symptoms may be gone. Okay, so they're all taken care of. So let's open this up and see what it looks like. So now you can see that the number of problems and symptoms are diminishing, right? That's one way to measure outcomes. So a measurable objective is a reduction in symptom and problem burden. You can also do measurement to goals. So let's close this and just go back to a fully open screen. And let's look at measurement towards goals. Let's look at chart note 1. I'm going to get rid of all of those in here. Right, left click, clear all. I'm going to leave that, cancel. It worked. Okay, so let's go some improvement. Half the time. Left click, right click. That works. Let's do this. Left click, right click, copy the end of row. So now what you've got is you've got basically improvement. And you can see them in these scores, 3-3, 3-2, 3-2, a little less than half the time. So you're measuring improvement. Now you don't have to measure improvement every session, but it's when it's charting by exception, you don't change anything unless it's changed, right? So that's the cool thing about that. Intake summary. Oh, this is interesting. You can do this. So the person's first name is Major. So we're going to go, Major is married. Major has one child. Major's never served in the military. Major is reportedly in good health. Major has a low number of presenting problems. A moderate number. Mildly impaired mental status. Not adopted. Raised in an intact family. Raised by biological parents. Did not have a traumatic childhood. Has attended college. Had good friends growing up. Did not associate with kids who got in trouble. Did not get in fights. Volunteers in the community. Came in for depression, stress. Now watch what happens here. We'll close that out. And so there is his intake summary. And I'm going to print that just to look at it. Oops. So there's his summary. This is actually the first time I've gotten through this, because I do lots of things that people would normally not do, and I break it. I haven't broken it. It all seems to be working fine. And these random, me just jumping around, changing things doesn't seem to be causing any problems at all, which means this is getting mature. We have no prognosis. Oh, yes, we do. Yeah, this is a requirement under medical necessity, beige. These salmon-colored ones are ones that I look at in every session. I want to look through and see anything in salmon color and make sure I attend to those during every session because they can change quite a bit. This is kind of a cool concept in here. I think when you look through this, you're going to see, you're going to learn something about how to document with some specificity the relationship between your treatment interventions and the diagnosis, and that sometimes you're treating things that are not part of the diagnosis but are related to the diagnosis. And so it's okay to not treat criteria that isn't specific to the diagnostic criteria, which obviously makes sense. Now I'm going to save this as, let's just see, I'm going to save it as a chart note. And I'm going to, right, these are all test dummy names and things I've made for people. So let's give this one a name. Jack Kirby. And we'll change it here, Jack Kirby. And we'll give him a date of birth. So click on that, click on it a second time, then go to the right. 1963, June 12. Wasn't that fast? You can do the same thing in here. So now that I'm going to just save it again just to make sure. Yeah, I do need to save it. I have an auto backup going, so it actually is backing up every minute. We'll just save it, and now I'm going to exit. And hopefully it'll exit without, what's going on here? Yeah, I think that would have saved. Yeah, it would have. Let's exit. And there's your help and others that were sitting there. Here's a video on how to install the grid, which you've already done.
In this video, I am going to show you how to install the grid on a Windows computer.
Okay, so there's that. Anyway, I hope this was helpful. I'm just poking around. All right, bye.